Hello and welcome to The View from the ADB in Fiji. I'm Kimberley Long, Asia Registered Banker, and I'm here with Sri Mulyani Indrawati, who is the Indonesian Finance Minister. And here today, I'm going to present her with the award for Finance Minister of the Year for both Asia and also Global for 2019. So first of all, congratulations on winning this award.
Thank you so much.
It's a great honour for both myself and the team at the banker to be able to present you with this award personally.
My honor too.
Thank you
so much for the appreciation and the award. Yeah.
You're very welcome, thank you. And so while we're here, I have a few questions also to run through. So first of all, I wanted to ask around the tax changes that have been implemented in Indonesia, and I just wanted to ask about what that will mean for the country and what you hope to gain from this.
Well, Indonesia is a middle-income country, and the need, with the growing middle class, big population, big geography, and the need to continue pursuing the development is very obvious. Whether you are going to build infrastructure, you build human capital, you try to create an efficient, reliable, credible institution. These are all definitely need resources, and that's why domestic resource mobilization through tax collection is very critical. For Indonesia, because our economy also affected by the commodity, because we are also commodity producing, there is also always creating an uncertainty when there is a volatility of the commodity price. So for us, collecting tax is not just a matter that you need to have a resource for development, but also to create more resiliency of the economy through diversifying the economy, as well as creating more sustainable progress on our economic growth. The growth has been good enough in the past 3 decades, but we also see the poverty reduction. Inequality has been reduced also. So there is really a good starting point for us to continue reforming our taxation. So for us, reforming taxation is not a choice. It is a mandatory, it's a must for us to be able to continue making a progress in a more sustainable way.
Okay, it's very interesting. So also around there's a lot of changes in debt and debt management in the country. So how is this being implemented in order to mitigate risk?
Well, Indonesia has been having a strong track record since Asia financial crisis 97-98. We adopted and implemented the new state finance law with the fiscal prudent principle in place. That is, our public debt should not allow to be above 60% of GDP, and the deficit on one fiscal year should not exceed 3% of GDP. That has been implemented for the last 20 years in a very credible way, and that's create a very strong and sound institutional and policy setting for the fiscal policy. Indonesia also have a decentralizing system in which local government also have their local budget. So when we talk about fiscal prudence as well as fiscal discipline, it also applies to the local government. So basically, from the institutional policy and the framework that we are adopting, allowing Indonesia to continue growing without accumulating debt which is reckless and excessive. As of now, our debt to GDP ratio is around 30%. In the past 1 decade, those debt to GDP ratio continue below 30%, which is, I think, remarkable given that Indonesia also growing above 5% for the past decade. So Indonesia is among a few countries in the world that can grow above 5% for more than a decade without accumulating debt, or even with the debt to GDP ratio continue manage below 30%, with the deficit always continue below 3%. Very prudent from point of view. But in addition to that sound principle, we still continue strengthening our debt management. For example, we are now deepening our debt issuance more on a domestic local currency in order for us to have a more stability, because too much dependent on a foreign is going to create volatility, especially during the global external shock. So we have to be able to deepen our bonds market, relying more on a domestic saver so that they are going to be able to create more stability and predictability. We also continue to expand our investor base. Indonesia currently is only about 1 million people who invest in the bonds. Many of the Indonesian middle class or upper class, they are actually investing their saving on a non-productive or non-security instrument, so that it is actually stuck to the certain asset, for example, like land or even gold in this case, on property. So it's not creating a dynamic economic forces in order for us to be able to continue develop. So still a lot of homework, but at least Indonesia has a very strong track record on the fiscal prudent, institutional discipline, as well as evidence of how we were able to grow in a high enough rate of growth, with also good in terms of inclusiveness, because we also see the reduction of the poverty and inequality, but without accumulating debt.
Great, thank you. And also, there's been a lot of changes in terms of the subsidies that have been provided for the fuel. So rather than just focusing on the traditional fuel sources, there's been a shift towards renewable energy. So can you talk around the reasoning behind this and what you're hoping to achieve from this?
Yeah, renewable energy has become one of the area which is very critical for us, because energy sufficiency is very critical. When Indonesia growing by more 5%, growing middle class, the need for the energy is going to continue. So it's not going to be even decline. That's why building energy which is sustainable is very critical. We have resources like oil, gas, coal, but we also have the renewable like geothermal. We also have biofuel even in this case, hydro, solar. So now the government is trying to achieve the energy mix in which renewable will play around 23% of our total energy production. It's still low at this moment, but we will continue diversify. In fact, for example, 2 weeks ago, I just launched one of the geothermal project in Indonesia. We provide incentive, we provide favorable policy environment so that those kind of renewable energy is going to continue thriving. Also on the bio, which is related to our source of energy. So Indonesia need to diversify, and this is require a comprehensive policy, both in terms of policy incentive, investment tools, as well as non-distorting policy, especially on subsidy.
Okay, great. Well, thanks very much. And once again, congratulations on your award for winning this year. So I hope you have a very productive and interesting meeting here in Fiji.
Thank you. We will do. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the award. And I do hope that this will inspire us in Indonesia as well as other countries to do the right thing for the people. Thank you.